Good evening, everyone. I am the mystery host. I'm Emma, also known as Arthaniel, when I comment in chats. Father Eric asked me to fill in tonight because he wouldn't be able to make it. So I am coming to you live from my new house that I moved into yesterday. So, in the spirit of moving and helping out, I thought for my opening monologue I would talk a little bit about community and about um the importance of like actual in real life community. And I know that's a theme we harp on a lot around here, despite it being an online space. But I really realized how true that was this weekend because we had so many people pitch in to help us move and show up, which was good because I got sick this week and I wasn't able to prepare or pack nearly as much as I hoped to. So we like just barely finished everything that we wanted to do, like fixing up the house in time before we moved, and I'd packed like almost nothing. And so many people came by to help um, move what they could and help us haul everything from our old place to our new place. And it was really great to feel like we were part of a community that like cared about us and was willing to help out, and that we have helped out in the past and will help out other times. Um, and also, I'm very excited because we no longer live in walking distance of our church, but we do now live in walking distance of two other families that go to our church. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know them better now that we're neighbors and getting to hang out. Um, yeah, we had to put in a lot of work to find this community and to become part of it. It took us it took us about a year of living here before we really like started going to things and making friends. Um, but since we've been able to start doing that, it's just been so great. And even people I had like never met or barely met showed up to help. So I do think churches are the easiest way to achieve this, but I feel like there are probably other ways too, other ways to find people. But I really encourage people to try that and look for their people, even if they're not as like even if you don't agree with them on everything, or even if like it's hard to talk to them at first, or it feels really awkward. I think it's really important to have people nearby that you know about and to be rooted in where you are. So yeah, that's my opening speech. Anyone want to come on and talk? Feel free. Um, we can post. We posted the link in the chat box. So yeah, come on, hang out, talk. We don't have to talk about this. I know it was a very short opening monologue, but I moved yesterday, so that's what I got. Yeah, come hang out with me. Hey,
Hey,
Mark.
Emma. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm happy about your little monologue there. That was great.
Thanks.
Did a good job. Did a good job. It looks
I'm
like
happy I could help Father Eric out.
yeah, it looks like thanks for hosting. You get this congratulations here.
Oh
So
yeah, I never remember how to highlight
that's
comments.
great.
Oops.
Yeah. No. And then Casey here, go to church, you sinners. Oh, jeez, Casey. That includes me. There we
There you
go.
go.
That's well said, Casey. Well said. Yeah. No, I like that. I like that community theme. Meet people around you, like Peterson, right? Like ask somebody for a small favor. That way, they'll
Hmm.
be inclined to ask you for a favor later.
And then you
Uh,
just can go back and forth. Yeah, it's
Little
nice.
hack.
We've got various like group chats and stuff that are basically like all the Catholics around our age in town, or all the ones who signed up for it, which I think
Yeah,
is
yeah.
a lot of them. So people will just post in the group chat like, "Hey, I'm moving this weekend. If you have time on Saturday, come by and help." And that's what we did, and we got like 5 or 6 people showing up to help. Some of them were there practically the whole time.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, it was great. And then Colin's friend from college came down. Also, he lives about 3 hours away, so he drove down to help us, which was a huge blessing because, like I said, I got almost nothing done before that. And so he helped us pack the night before and then helped us move all the stuff and only slightly bullied me for how much garbage I have in my pantry that I should have just thrown out but forgot was in there.
That's great. That's great. I used to be the moving guy. Like whenever anybody moved, I'm like, all right, I'm there. I got my car. I'll drive the rental truck and whatever you need. I can't do that anymore. Otherwise, I would have driven up and helped you, Emma.
Aw, thank you. That would have been a hike. I would not expect that of you.
If I were less sick, although today I did work all day. It's been an amazing
That's
day.
good.
Yeah. Well, it beats 40 minutes and then I'm out for the day. So yeah,
I
that's
do actually live in biking distance of my church. It's only about a 5-minute drive away. So
oh,
I could
5 minutes. Oh,
definitely
that's
ride
not
my
bad.
bike. But it's a little bit long for a walk. Although we could do it. I could do it if I wanted to and I
It could be
had
done.
time, which I might do sometimes.
Like you
But
got
I do
grass
also
on the
have my
house
bike here
too,
now.
right?
Thank you,
You're
clown.
very you're
Why don't you
very
come
popular.
say hi?
People are shy.
I
Everybody thinks like,
know.
oh, they won't be given a place to speak, but then people come on and they don't talk. That's
Yeah, I know.
not it.
I come on and just knit way too often. Also, I'm going to show this off for a minute. This is our
Uh,
guest book from our wedding.
oh,
We
nice.
got a mirror and had everybody sign it with like paint markers. Probably the least practical thing I did at my wedding, but it's really fun. And now that we're a little bit more settled, Colin and his friend hung it this morning. So I'm
Oh,
very
nice.
excited.
Weddings aren't for practicality, Emma.
I know, but I
I don't
felt
know why
so
people tell
bad
you that.
having it just in a box for 3 years.
Oh, that's
I was like, we did this whole thing, and now we can't even like hang it. It's just sitting there.
now
But
it's
now we can
fixed.
hang it.
Now it's
So it
fixed.
paid off. And I mean, weddings are for playing the long game. And like 10 years from now, what will 3 years in a box matter?
That's right. That's right. It won't matter at all. And that'll be a drop in the bucket compared to how many years you'll be married. So,
That's the hope.
oh, that's good. Yeah, the idea that you need community and community is important. It's yeah, it's hard when you don't have people around. Because I moved from New
Hmm.
England where I knew everybody, right, to
Right.
South Carolina where I know almost nobody still. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard. And it's really hard to, I don't know, to make that first step of getting to know people. We actually made it a Lenten resolution, not this past Lent, but the one before it. Was like our church did fish fries every Friday. And we were like, okay, we're gonna go to the fish fry. We're gonna find someone to talk to, and we're gonna like get to know people our age at this church. And we did, and then we found the young professionals group, and we got like signed up for emails and stuff, and now we go to potlucks every month, and it's
Oh,
great.
wow. That is great. That's fantastic. Yeah, I was down in, Florida recently, just for half a day to pick up a golf cart, which is awesome. I've driven it every day since we got it back. Every
Oh,
day,
nice.
every day I take the golf cart out. First thing I do, "Let's go take the golf cart out." Um, and, the church down there in the little Florida village is, which is, I think you have to be 45 to even move there or something. It's one of those places, right? The Catholic church there is packed.
Oh wow.
Packed. Yeah. Overflowing packed. So, yeah.
Is there like what age demographics and stuff?
It's all older people, right? It's all 45 and you can't
Mm,
you can't technically buy or rent there if you're under 45.
pretty much.
Yeah, you can only visit. So it's, it's mostly people 55 and
Hmm.
older, really. Emma's living that old American life. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That sounds good to me. You know your neighbors, you got a house, you pretty it up with pretty things.
Yeah. Oh, my mother-in-law also came out for a weekend and she was so helpful painting everything because she likes painting and she's really good at it.
Yeah,
So
that's
she
weird.
painted like 2.5 rooms of this
Wow.
house of
Oh, that's
the
awesome.
like 4 different colors we did.
Wow. I was gonna paint my house and I got sick. So I just paid them to do it. It's like,
Yeah,
you guys do it.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was a rough time still. So
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't well every day. So some days I was okay and some days, yeah, I wasn't gonna make it. And painting's hard too, right? Because when you paint the fumes and yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's a lot.
it can be a lot. It can be a real lot. So yeah, I had the money, so it's like, yeah, just paint the house.
Yeah, at that point, it's not worth it. It's not
Yeah.
worth trying.
No, it's a small house. It's not I have a tiny house.
Hmm.
It's 900 square feet.
Yeah, that is small. That's smaller than ours. Ours is 1100, so it's not much smaller than ours.
Yeah, 200 square feet makes big difference.
It
You'd be
does. Our
surprised.
apartment was 900 square, around 900, 950 square
Yeah.
feet, and this is a little over 1100. And just walking around this house, it's like I have so much space, even with like stuff still in boxes and not put away properly.
Mhm.
It still feels like more space. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to show a picture. Does that work well enough?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's pretty.
I painted this flower decal. I finished it on Friday and we moved on Saturday. So,
Wow,
that was uh that was the process of this week. But I'm
gotcha.
really happy with how it turned out. Originally, I was going to do all the way across the ball, and then I did one stripe, and I was like, so I can either finish it today or I can do the whole wall. And I think I like the way it looks stripes.
There you go. The fumes are apparently the best part, according to Clown of Babylon.
Yeah.
I guess if that's what you're into.
Isn't that illegal in California like everything else, clown? Elijah?
Probably, probably. Uh, if you like fumes, put vapor barrier primer on your walls in November when you can't air the place
Or
out.
the
I can air the
pizza?
place out. I live in South Carolina. You just gotta move, Dawn. That's the problem. You just have to move.
That does sound miserable.
Illegal just means you
Just
don't know
means you
where to
don't.
look. There we go. Okay.
There we go.
Oh my. I don't think we condone illegal behavior on the live stream here.
I don't know. We probably condone some behavior that's illegal in California.
Oh, well, that's only because all behavior in California is illegal.
Hmm. The only
It,
legal thing in California is stuff that's illegal everywhere else.
yeah. If guys want to come in, they have to come on camera here. We can't have there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome, David.
Hi, David.
You're muted.
Am I muted?
Now you're
No, you're
unmuted.
not. I don't think I've
Excellent.
seen you around before, David.
You haven't. I just came in. I listened to the intro music. Who picked the intro music?
Father Eric picked the intro music. He has it set up every week. It's
I
the
got
same
beef.
every week.
I got beef.
You got
I was-
beef with Father Eric?
Well, now I do. I was listening to the music. I tuned in at a certain point. I thought, this is great. This is beautiful chant. There's clear jazz influence going on, but they're doing it proper. I'm a sucker for a good jazz ballad. I know it when I hear it, and they did it nice. They incorporated that with chant. I thought, this is neat. This is not distinctively medieval. But then I heard piano, and it ruined everything.
Mm.
So change the music.
Okay.
That's probably
Noted.
that's the most substantive thing I have for you.
All
That's
right.
it. Nothing on community. Do you ever move? You ever have
No.
help moving?
No, I sit here most of my time. I go to work, and
What
then
do you do?
I make coffee,
Oh, nice.
and I sit on my computer. And then I'm gifted books I don't read. I was gifted this book, and I'm not reading it.
The Foundations of Western Monasticism.
Never reading this. I was gifted it. I'm not gonna read it.
Any particular reason?
I just don't read.
Sounds like a wonderful book, though. Interesting.
It does sound.
It does. I flipped through it. It looks interesting, but it looked more interesting if I'd read it. But I don't read, so
Bummer.
Yeah.
Jacob, welcome.
Jacob, hello.
Hello. So you're in your new house.
I am in my new house.
How large?
Painted a whole bunch of the walls, made a whole bunch of holes in the walls.
How large is the house, if I may ask?
It's about 1,100 square feet, 3 bedrooms. One of the bedrooms is very small.
Yeah,
that's
not large enough for a Catholic family.
No, but it's large enough to start one.
Yes.
Got to start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere.
How is DC, Jakob?
I haven't gone to DC yet. I will be going to DC in 10 days, 11 days.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
My nephew is graduating from a Catholic university.
Oh, cool.
Oh, see you at.
Oh, you're going to Catholic Town in DC. Oh, it's cool over there.
I am going to Georgetown. Yes. My
Georgetown.
My nephew is graduating from Georgetown.
I'm back. I need the proper headwear for discussion.
Nathaniel, is that Danger Dave?
I may be.
Maybe. Okay.
All right.
It's up to you.
This, Emma. You have permission to make holes in your wall. I knew you were waiting for that.
I'm being told by people to clean my room. I won't.
No, rebellion. Excellent.
I just don't need
useful.
to. It's fine. I'll see when I'm done with the peanuts. I'll just move them off of the bed. Simple.
That is simple. It seems insufficient, but
well, it's the cleaning you need. You need to clean your room, right? But you need to clean what you need in your room. Because Peterson, he tells everybody to clean your room.
Broken Peterson rule number 1.
Well, yeah, but people who don't clean their rooms, they clean their rooms exactly to what they need. If you know the cycle, you know that the dirty clothes go there. And then when I need to use it, they go here.
Yeah.
Right? And you go, so you get a system going.
It's very short
easy.
term, though.
Yeah.
As someone who used to live like that, that's very short term and short term thinking.
It is. But it gets
and
the job done.
The whole point is switching from getting the job done short term to actually like setting yourself up to do something better.
Yeah.
And grow beyond that. And sometimes you're not ready for that yet.
Well, first you need something to do.
That is true. You need a reason.
You need a
reason to care about having your room clean.
That's true. I don't.
Well, I hope you get one soon because it is a nicer life.
Well, sometimes I do it, and it's nice for like a week.
Yeah, personal betterment would be. I think that's the Peterson pitch for cleaning your room.
That's good
Mhm.
advice. It's good advice.
Yeah, restoring your own
Sometimes-
agency, and then realizing you have control over the world, and even though
It's
it's
true.
limited, it's better than not having control over the world, and you can kind of
It's
grow
so
it from
true.
there.
That's so
Mhm.
true.
Sometimes it does take several like starts and stops before it really kicks in and like sinks in that you can actually improve that much though.
I just enjoy it for a week. It's nice every now and again.
Yeah, my room is probably the cleanest it will ever be because so far we've only put the stuff in our room that we're like actively using, and it'll accumulate more crap soon.
How much stuff
But
did you
then I'll go
throw
through
out?
and clean it. Not a lot yet because I didn't properly pack, so I have to do the throwing out part after while unpacking, which is the less efficient way to do it. But it was what I had this time.
Been there, done
I've
that.
already thrown out a bunch of stuff as I was unpacking the kitchen, where I was, because that's the other downside about moving like 5 minutes away from your old place, is that you just bring all of your stuff. Like, if you're moving a significant distance, you don't bring all your pantry goods and all your food. You just throw it all out and start fresh. But you don't
Right.
want to do that when you're only moving like 5 minutes.
I have become convinced that being able to throw things out may be the most important skill too many people don't have.
It probably is, and my husband and I are both terrible at it. So, we're getting there. We're improving.
That's pretty common. I like pseudo-Boethius. I like keeping my room clean so I don't trip over anything. It's a safety thing. It's yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just use an old. Wait. I just use an old piano stand. And I can hang all my belts so I don't trip on them. It's still violently unorganized, but it's fine. You just need to not trip. You just need your clothes on your bed and then take them off so you can sleep.
You don't think
And then
cleaning
you
your
go to
room is
work.
about needs?
No, it's about going to work. It's about getting up at 5:15 to go to
Hi,
work.
Shadow.
There's Shadow. Shadow, you want
Shadow
to say
cat.
hi?
Look at her go.
Shadow?
Tiger is coming around to the new house. She was not thrilled about it yesterday when she was suddenly scooped up from the place she's lived 3 years and brought into an entirely new space. She hid under the bed for a couple hours, but
I bet.
she's happier now.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, once they get
Hi,
to know the
Shadow.
place, they're fine usually, right?
My
Yeah.
brother had a cat.
And I'm hoping to let her out into the backyard occasionally because she won't be able to jump the fence because she can't jump. So,
Cat can't jump.
she's a 14-year-old cat with hip dysplasia. She can't really jump.
Ah,
Shadow has lately been spending a lot of time up there, right where the light hits her, and
Nice.
it looks pretty scary. Like when you look at it, because like her eyes are, looks scary.
we have a question, Emma. Now that you have more room, are you going to get another cat? You're not going to turn into
No.
a cat person, are you?
No, Tiger specifically, she came from a household with many cats, and we discovered that she's scared of them all and loses all of her personality when there's another cat around. And we know this because after 11 years, she suddenly grew a personality when she moved in with me.
Nice.
So that would be very cruel to poor Tiger to suddenly dump another cat on her now that she's felt safe. And also, more than one cat feels like too much for me to handle.
Cats are easy.
Yes, but sometimes when you have two of them, they have personality clashes and opinions about each other.
My brother's
that's
cat
a
would
whole-
torment my dog, my poor dog,
Hmm.
because they were similar in size. But cats are more
Oh,
crafty, and they're evil. So,
they can be.
but other
I
than that, they
have.
got along fine. He's dead now. The cat outlived him.
Oh wow.
Got what he wanted.
I
This
have
makes me
friends.
think I need to get another cat. Should I get another black cat or should I get a white cat?
Get a white one.
How much do you care about looking like you own cats?
Does it matter?
Well, because if you get another black cat, then dark clothes, you'll be fine. But if you get a white cat and a black cat, you're just screwed no matter what you wear.
Yeah, I never care about having fur on my clothes, but
Get the white one. It'll be
Orange
Energy
cats have
it'll
no
be
brain
epic.
cells, and it is in fact the best.
Clown of Babylon
This-
thinks
this
that you
book
should get a
proves-
tabby cat, Jacob. So there we go. Orange cats are allegedly the best. I had no idea.
if I get an orange
Blonde
cat,
of
I have
cats.
to call him Donald, though.
That would be good.
That would be pretty funny.
Father Eric is busy. That is why Emma is hosting this whole thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my show tonight.
It's her show.
Apparently,
She's in charge. Sally Joe,
that's why we get to
definitely
talk
an
about cats.
orange
We don't
one.
usually get to talk about cats when Father Eric is here.
Orange cats, I guess, are the vote.
They're the
Blonde
blondes
of
of
cat.
cats.
Apparently,
Orange.
No, these people are wrong. They did not read Pageau's book. You get access to the forums if you get the white cat, because then you have the black cat and the white cat. And it's like heaven or earth or something. I don't know. It's been a
Yeah,
while since I read it.
I could see it working out that way. But
Just
orange
do
cats are probably more fun.
Renee
I have
says
friends.
hi.
Hello, Renee. I have friends whose house has 2 cats, a dog, and a rabbit, which is an awful lot of animals for the house, but it's a good time.
I thought Dave
What?
doesn't read. Well, I do lie.
Yeah,
So,
Dave doesn't read. Well, there's not much reading in that book, to be fair.
It's a lot of pictures. It
that's
is.
lot
why
of
I liked
pictures.
it.
can I get an orange cat with a Hitler mustache?
No, you got to get one named Donald. It looks like Sally Joe's with you on that. So I don't know.
Oh, I would name him Donald or 45, but he's got to have a Hitler mustache.
Why not Garfield? Why don't you name him
Good
Garfield?
luck finding one of those.
You have an orange cat. You're not gonna name
Good
it
luck finding
Garfield.
one of those.
More
I feel like
animals than
it's,
humans.
difficult. There are more animals than humans in that house. There's one more animal than humans. It's 3 roommates. And then one of them has 3 of the animals, and one of them has one of the cats.
Interesting.
She's my best friend, and I love her dearly, but she does like animals better than
Yeah, what pet gives you access to the forums?
Yeah, what pet gives you access to the form of forms? Well, there's no form of forms, so none of them. Problem solved. Sally, fluffy orange, so you can Donald style
Donald
the hair.
style the hair.
What is your
Uh,
hate
That'd
for
be fun.
Garfield? First off, if you're gonna name it after a president, shut up, Renee. If you're gonna name it
does
after
a
a
wizard
president,
do
name it
your
after
sorcery
Garfield.
forbidden? Is sorcery forbidden? I had no idea.
Yeah,
No, this is
sorcery
the-
is forbidden.
Well, yeah, but this is the epic version.
I don't
So,
know.
This is the illicit version.
Why is it the illicit version? It's not gray or white.
Because it's fine. Because it's not goetic. It's angelic. There we go.
The sorting cat
Next
isn't
question.
green though, Pseudo-Boethius.
I think Sally's right. Goats give you access to the forms.
See, nope.
Oh
that's
heck
goetic.
yes, more weaponry for my
That's
argument
goetic.
with
Ban
Colin.
this user.
What
Goats
is
are
the
not
cat
formal
bus?
animals.
What is the cat bus from My Neighbor Totoro?
Totoro. My neighbor Totoro is a Studio Ghibli movie, and I haven't actually seen it, but I do know there's like I think it's like a 6-year-old's imagination or something is what it's meant to be about. And so there's a bus that is a cat, and it's an orange cat because that makes it look more like a school bus. I don't know why one would want it. It's always freaked me out a little bit, but you do you.
Pseudoboethius believes he's wearing a sorting hat.
I don't think the sorting hat's green though, at least not in the movies.
Yeah,
I think it has a mouth. It doesn't have a
if
mouth.
if he's a creation is good wizard, he can stay. I think Sally's correct.
Creation is good. That's fair. That's fair.
No
I can
good
So
accept.
is creation good?
I don't
Well,
know
two
about.
thumbs.
I don't know about no good magicians. Like I don't know about that.
You're looking at him.
Sally Joe says the cat bus is great. I never heard of this cat bus. So
Jacob, what are you eating?
I was eating matzah actually.
Matzo. I showed you my food.
I've never
You didn't
seen
show us
anybody
yours.
casually eat matzah.
You've never seen somebody casually eat matzah?
A deficit on your part. Like, why are you bragging about your deficits? Somebody give David more pixels. Yeah, well, he's got a poor internet connection.
Ha!
It's
Ha!
a cracker.
It's matzah.
No, the brand.
Oh, the
Ha, it shows
6-year-old
ha.
mom is sick in the movie, I guess. It's a sweet movie. It doesn't sound like it's for me at all.
Okay.
Nachos.
That's a big thing of matzah.
Yeah.
What? Well, this is what my mom. So I don't actually buy my own matzah. I just grab one pack because my parents buy a bunch of matzah.
Oh, nice.
It's good to be prepared.
And I end up having way too much after because I don't eat that much matzah. It ends up staying around until next Passover, usually.
And then Passover is when you go through and throw out all the stuff that's too old in your pantry, right?
You're supposed to do that.
That's the theory, anyway.
Maybe I should
Pseudoboethius.
try harder to do that for Lent or something.
I highly recommend everybody watch My Neighbor Totoro. It's a wild ride, but filled with love. Yeah, definitely not watching it now.
Today is Orthodox Easter, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. It's Pascha.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how you get around Pascha on Twitter, man. Like, all I saw today was with Pascha messages. It was glorious. It's quite nice.
It's also in the West, it's Rogation Tide, which is a thing I just learned about.
It's in the West. What?
Rogation Tide.
Is that where men who are bald put Rogaine on their head?
No.
That's the first thought I had, Jacob.
It's based on the Latin rogare, to ask, because up until recently, the reading for this Sunday was the gospel was like anyone who asks receives, and to the one who knocks, the door will be opened. And it became a season of praying. It's also, spring planting and everything. So it's a season of like beginnings and also penance because you're preparing for all these new beginnings. So you're praying for like healing and health and things to go well during the coming year. Because also this Thursday is Ascension Thursday. So Easter's almost over. And so this is a medieval thing I just learned about. And I think it's really cool and very appropriate for the fact that we just moved into a new house. Although I haven't got a garden yet, but probably next year. I don't think that.
You want medieval things.
I enjoy medieval things once in a while.
We've been working on the gardens here.
We're multi-classers, baby.
I wonder if mine's bigger.
Maybe. Are you implying
It's
something?
like far off camera though, so.
Hold on.
Oh, I don't have a shield though.
I had my light. I know I made this. It's pretty cool. I took the boss off it though. I had a boss on it. I figured I'd take it off.
Fair. It's easier
because I wanted to make a shorter shield, a round shield.
Oh, gotcha.
At least you're not a pragmatist. Ixnat insists that the Miyazaki films are pretty good in general. That is correct.
I enjoy them.
Pseudo-Boethius, congratulations on the new house.
Thank you. We're very excited and very happy.
How are things in school?
They're going okay. It's the end of the semester, which is an objectively terrible time to be moving, but that's how it went. So I definitely still have 2 papers to write, but they'll get done in time. It'll be fine.
Are you taking classes during the summer?
No, but I will be teaching online during the summer.
Why don't you say, hey, teach? Why don't you round that grade up for me?
I'm teaching Intro to Greek Civilization.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's
Can I
one of
take
our
that course?
general core education classes.
Can I take that? How do I take that course from you, Emma? Not online? Come on.
It's online through the university.
All the big universities are giving all their stuff away for free. What's your problem?
I don't know. We'll see.
I
have barely looked at it, so I don't know much of how I will be teaching it or what I will be teaching, but I don't have to start actually teaching till the middle of June, so I can deal with that in a couple of weeks when I have finished teaching this semester.
So I want to ask your opinion on something that Father Stephen says that I've been walking around quoting, but I don't know enough Greek to know if it's true.
Okay.
He says Koine Greek is obviously filled with Hebraisms, and it's you cannot understand Koine Greek if you don't know Hebrew.
I have never heard that, but that doesn't make it not true because Koine is pretty specifically Bible Greek, I think.
Well,
so it would track, and also very few people here care about it.
So the example that he makes is in Hebrew, the infinitive is always preceded with the preposition to.
Okay.
And he said Koine Greek does that, but normal Greek doesn't.
Normal Greek definitely doesn't do that. I have to take his word that Koine does because I haven't actually done that much.
Nobody studies Koine Greek. That's what she's telling you.
Not here. It's something I would like to spend more time on, but I haven't been able to because I've had to prioritize, things that'll let me pass my qualifying exams and stay in the program. So that would be a fun summer project, though.
Emma, have you heard this? Watching anime is a sin? I've never heard that before.
I've heard people say it. I don't agree with them.
Yeah, a lot of anime.
There's a lot of trashy anime out there, but there's a lot of trashy Western TV too. So like, watching anime is a sin. Watching Netflix is a sin. Maybe just throw out your TV. I don't know, man.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of Christian symbolism in anime. A lot.
Well, yeah, but there's also a lot of
but sometimes it gets pretty weird.
So.
Sorry, what was that, David?
There's a lot of symbolism in anime, but there's also a lot of exposed breasts in anime. So, pick your symbol, dude.
In anime.
A lot of what?
It really depends on what anime you're watching. I haven't found any, and I've watched a good amount. So.
Well, okay. So I haven't watched anime in like 25 years or so. And back then, the anime section near UCLA's campus is where we got our anime. And there was a lot of tentacle porn. But that was before
I think it has changed in recent years to be
probably more depraved.
I'm sure there's plenty of more depraved stuff, but there's also more not depraved stuff. Because as like interest in the few not depraved things like the Studio Ghibli movies, like increased, people were like, oh, you can actually make money off of like normal anime that sane people would want to watch.
I
And
watched
so people
Cowboy
have started
Bebop. That
making
was
that.
good. Professional, not professional, official thumbs
Oh.
up on Cowboy Bebop. That one's great.
Also, everything Clown's saying in the chat tracks with what I've heard about Koine as well.
I wanna.
Just
Emma
the
should
record.
teach at the Catherine Project, whatever that is.
I don't actually know what. I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't remember what it is right now.
Yeah. The view accepted by most scholars today was given by the Greek linguist Georgios Hatzidakis, who showed that
Oh,
despite
yeah,
the
yeah.
composition of the
I've
four,
heard
the
of
stable nucleus of Koine is attic. I don't
What
know.
do any of those mean?
I don't even have an attic.
I've heard of Greek.
So, Attic Greek is what people think of as normal ancient Greek. Ancient Greek has a lot of different dialects, but Attic Greek is the one that like Plato and Aristotle wrote in, and like the great speechwriters and everything. So it became the standard. And everything is basically described as a variation to that and described in how much it differs from Attic Greek. So there's Ionic dialect, which is from like the Turkey, modern day Turkey area, and it just has like different vowels and other things going on. Hello, Father Eric.
Hello, I'm back.
Yay.
Thank you for getting this going, Emma. But I have returned at the
No
turn of the
problem.
tide.
Well, apparently, because I have a basilisk now, which I do not.
It's a cosmic space dragon. What the heck is he talking about?
I don't know what he's talking about. I'm glad you're back, Father. Are you okay? Are you well after your trip?
Oh no, it was just a weekend. It was all sorts of things and stuff, and other priests sometimes making decisions.
Very
boy.
descriptive.
Yeah. So Bishop and I ended up having 5 masses this weekend.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot.
4 confirmations and a parish visit. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. And now I'm back, and yeah. Hey, so I saw your comment on that other video, and I think we just need to connect someplace other than YouTube comments so I can advise you properly on building a computer.
Ooh.
Don't get someone else to do it.
Get someone else to do it? Okay.
So that you have someone to blame if it goes wrong. That's what
I don't
did.
know. A few years ago, buying pre-built, like custom pre-built, was actually cheaper than building yourself. But I don't know if that's still true.
Yeah,
I don't know
the
if
price on
that's true
graphics
anymore.
cards have come down.
I
I
gave
was
my friend a
told-
cheeseburger.
I was told by the same friend who drove 3 hours to help us move that if we gave him $5,000, he would get us all the plus a finder's fee. He would get us all the parts for a computer. I was then told that it would actually be like 1.5 to 2K for the parts, and he was trolling us.
Yeah.
What are you using a computer for, if I may ask?
Cheap computers are very cheap. But if you want a machine to do like AI or gaming or something, then $500 is a mid-range video card, not the rest of the parts. So, yeah.
At this
no,
point,
he said 5,000.
No,
5,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah,
I
know.
advise you obtain like a beater desktop, and basically just use that. Unless you're like doing serious computing, you really don't need anything that's like more powerful than an Xbox 360. There's no games after that time period worth playing anyway. So, so don't waste your money. Don't waste your time.
Man,
yeah.
David, your whole attitude seems to be like minimal effort, minimal output.
Oh yeah.
Just bare minimum.
Well, he put the effort to get those icons on his back wall, so he can't be all bad.
Yeah. I think that was, when was that? That was probably 5 years ago. I've been meaning to take them down.
Oh.
Well, because I have nicer ones.
Oh, okay.
But no, I just printed those off at like school.
Okay, well,
more up.
I'll be honest. You're coming in at about 360p right now, so I can't.
Yeah.
I can tell what they
that's
are,
fine.
but
They're
that's
paper.
about it.
They're literally just paper.
Okay.
So I've been
Oh,
meaning
my.
to take them down.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Father, can I show you our wedding guest book mirror that we
Your
finally
wedding.
got on the wall
Oh.
after almost 3 years of being married? We finally hung it up somewhere.
Oh, wow.
There
Well,
it
now,
is.
are you in your new house now?
We are. We moved in yesterday.
Okay. All right.
Look at all the stress you put on her, Father.
I hadn't thought about that. Problem is, Mark, and I want to be very clear about this. I think whoever I have come in and, carry the torch while I'm gone should at least be Catholic.
Yeah.
True.
I should carry the torch.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy to do it.
Give me the torch.
No, it's good. I mean,
Super
that's the
Nintendo
correct
Wii.
answer. I'm just saying it was a lot of stress for her.
Okay.
No, it was
How
good.
are you doing,
It
Emma? Are
inspired
you
a
still
great,
stressed out?
I'm doing better. I got like half the stuff in my kitchen put away today, so my kitchen feels vaguely functional, which helps a lot. It's been tricky because my last place had a huge pantry and almost no cabinet space. And this place has 1,000,000 cabinets and no pantry. So I have to just completely redo how I organize my kitchen, and I have no idea what I want to do.
Well, you're just going to have to
we're
put
getting
that
there.
stuff that you use every once in a while in a closet somewhat convenient to the kitchen.
Yeah, probably what I'm going to do is buy like an IKEA wardrobe or something and put it in the kitchen.
Feed the beast. That's cool too.
And, well, I only have 2 closets that aren't in bedrooms, and there's no basement and there's no attic.
I don't understand. Why is the difference between a pantry and a cabinet that vital in terms of storing things?
It might not be, but for my brain, it is.
No, it definitely is.
I don't claim that this is like reasonable or logical. It just is.
No, it's
Like,
reasonable.
Cans of stuff in a pantry, just like you put in a cabinet.
I've got shelving now. Father behind the bar thing. I've got shelving now, so problem solved. It's great because before I had nothing, but yeah, it's still not a pantry, but it's
get a crock pot. Crock pot's great.
I've got
don't need to store anything.
Mixers and blenders in pantries, but not cabinets. I've never had a mixer or a blender.
I don't know. I can also have more stuff live on my counter now because I have way more counter space.
Do you have an air fryer?
I do have an air fryer. I don't know if that's going to live on the counter because it's pretty big, but it might.
Air fryers
it better live on the counter.
The air
fryers are great. I love my air fryer.
I live on the air fryer.
The crock pot is hidden away. The Instant Pot is hidden away.
You hide your crock pot because you hide light under a bushel.
I would like a baby chest freezer.
They're awesome. And they're cheap.
And they're very efficient.
The other thing is what to do with my inevitable Costco food stockpile. Because that doesn't go very easily in cabinets. Especially the like large bags of rice and stuff to refill canisters from.
Yep.
That is pantry stuff.
That's why you need pantry. Yeah, cabinets have.
That's not cabinet stuff.
Yeah, food. I was only recommending appliances in the cabinet or the
closet.
Yeah, the closet.
And see, I've got space for most of my appliances. The issue is the food. The food.
Big food.
Well, maybe we can rig up some like pulleys in your kitchen, and then you can just like pull down a sack of flour, and then you've got flour right there. And then they do that in garages, right? Like my dad's got these power cables in his garage, and he can just reach up and pull the power cable, and he's got power wherever he needs it. So I don't know why we can't bring that same technology to the kitchen.
Well, I must extol the virtues of the dirty room, because I just keep my sodas in a pile next to my bed.
Part of me is kind of happy you're coming in at 360p right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
can't see it.
I can't
Well,
really see it.
There's
Thank
boxes
goodness
of
for
cans
that.
next to my bed for
Should
easy
be happy
access.
for small miracles.
I have my
Indeed.
protein shakes there. That's all you need.
I won't blame anybody for reaching higher in their life aspirations.
I will.
You
If
will.
You try
Okay.
to do better.
You try to do better. David's gonna drag you down.
Hmm.
That is, you're the crab at the bottom of the bucket, pulling all the other crabs
Bucket,
back
just
down.
pulling
Usually
everyone
how
back
it
in the
works.
bucket.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's a nicer way to
Well,
put it.
I don't think we need him around then.
Oof.
Nice.
Is this going to be like in a
work
30-second timeout there for exemplifying vice?
I was wondering.
I like that rule. That's a great
Yeah.
rule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you high stick somebody, you get 30 seconds. You exemplify vice, you get 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I don't know.
30 seconds. There you go.
I'm not keeping a close count on it though, so I don't need that kind of energy. Now, let's get on to the important matters. Mr. Ortiz
Link is
here
canonically Catholic. In like
says
one
that
of the
Link is canonically Catholic. So I just need to see the canon and then probably a baptismal certificate, and then we can go forward.
I had the sticker on my dresser for the longest time because they gave me a little sticker, my name on it, and my baptismal note. I went with David because it's rather simple. I relate to King David very deeply, so it just worked. And they gave me a little name tag, and I got home and I said, "Where do I put this name tag?" And I saw my dresser; it looked like it had nothing stuck to it, so I thought it'd be a good place for it.
Well, hopefully your baptism sticks too.
It can't unstick.
Yeah, you can take the effects off though.
We've been there.
there's one picture of Zelda in like a novelization somewhere that has Link praying in front of a crucifix.
There's a hat baptized though. Now in the Minish Cap, which I played on the Game Boy Advance back in the day, the hat was alive, so we would actually need to baptize the hat as well as Link. Link is probably anime Catholic more than Roman Catholic.
According to Reddit, Link is only Catholic in the bad timeline.
No, we could take
So
that one of two
Nintendo
ways.
might be saying something.
Well, Link is righteous.
He is the righteous one, I suppose, as far as video games are concerned.
It's up to you. Especially in the recent games. They're pretty open world. You can rob people if you want to rob people.
Oh, that's very different. Back in my day, when you played Legend of Zelda, the worst thing you could do was torment chickens, which had consequences, because all the chickens would come and attack you, and unless you could get off screen, they wouldn't stop attacking you until you were dead. I'm sure there's a lesson in there somewhere, but I'm not sure what that is.
Consequences are real. That's the lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
very simply, when someone looks at Ganon, this pig creature, this orc, it's not a thing that you can put your wishes on. You can't go, well, Link's Catholic in the bad timeline, so what is Ganon? Does he come down and he starts yelling at Link? He goes, Link, you need to submit to the Roman pontiff. And then Link goes, never. And then he swings his sword at him. No.
I'm having a hard time following what's going on in your imagination, but see if you could draw a picture or something, and then maybe I can follow it.
Well, right here we have Link bad timeline, supposedly. That's where he's Catholic, right?
But we're missing the important question here, or the important answer is that you could steal from the shopkeeper in Link's Awakening, but then he would kill you the second time you came into the shop. So once again, as an exemplification of virtue.
Well, the wages of sin is death.
Yeah. And then also in Twilight Princess, if you stole from the shopkeeper who was a bird, he would attack you on sight.
I think maybe it's a bird thing. Who made Link?
Yeah, you can't steal from the shops. But sometimes if you just wander into people's houses in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they'll just have stuff lying around and you can pick it up and no one cares, which is how most open world games work.
Yeah.
I always feel bad though, so I don't usually do it.
Yeah, because in real life you can't
Unless
just
I'm
walk
like
into
dying.
people's houses.
There's also, yeah, in real life, people lock their doors.
No, we just did a big dust up about this on Twitter, I think. No, they don't. It's a lot of places people do not lock their doors.
Yeah, okay, actually,
Well,
There's a lot of places where people don't lock their doors.
There's a lot of places where they do.
Yeah, well, mostly cities.
Yeah.
Although even
where
in
the majority of the population lives.
Even in the suburbs, I don't know about that, but even in the suburbs, people don't tend to lock their doors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in my neighborhood, we lock our doors because there's all sorts of unneighborly people out there.
And Father, where is
Don't
this?
you have like
Where
a
are
bar
these
next
doors?
to
These doors
rectory?
are on the house, facing north, south, east.
Well, I had figured as much.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
A good game lets you walk into someone's house and steal things, because the consequence may be the shopkeep gets you, but the other consequence may be, as Emma has demonstrated, that you have to sit with that. You stole that digital man's
I think a good game lets you steal things from people's houses, but then has them get mad at you later.
Well, yeah, you need like a reputation system, of course.
Rather than that happening with like no consequences.
I think my all-time favorite reputation system came from Skies of Arcadia. Anybody else here ever played that one? Like early 2000s, originally for the Dreamcast, ported to the GameCube. And if you ran away from too many battles, your reputation just tanked.
Nice.
You were called Vice the Coward from now on. Yeah.
Finally, a chivalrous video game.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I have a vehement hatred for plate armor and late Middle Ages aesthetics, just generally, because these things are visual symbols of the total decline in morality in this time period, because war became something where the goal was to kill the opponent instead of make him submit, which is what it was for pretty much the entire Middle Ages. And then the lords got lazy and they hired mercenaries, and mercenaries don't care. They're going to kill you, and then you need to invest in finer armor.
So this is late stage feudalism, huh?
Real. This is late stage feudalism, exactly.
Yeah, no one else ever used mercenaries in history.
No, mercenaries suck. Fight your own battles.
I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
Because I'm right.
Well,
because you never read a history book. That's why.
Yeah, you admitted earlier that you don't read.
Yeah, but that was the feudal system. Was the lord would defend his land, and that's what his knights were there to do. So you could pay the scutage if you were a coward and a loser. But that's.
You should read a book. It would help you a lot.
I think it would be good for you.
I'm sure.
Especially with history.
I have a hard time escaping the Bible.
Well, you could spend a good long time there.
If you were only going to read one, that would probably be the go-to book. But
yeah.
Then maybe just not so much on the history, especially not the medieval history. You seem a little weak there. But.
Nah, screw the mercenaries 100%.
Oh, goodness.
Like I understand they're employed. I'm saying it's evil.
I mean, I'm not going to necessarily argue pro mercenaries, but I am going to argue against your understanding of the Middle Ages in general, and especially your idealization of the early Middle Ages. Although I do not have sources to back me up right now.
High Middle Ages, all the way. Beautiful.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you, because that's where Thomas Aquinas was writing, and they were building nice churches. Yeah, but I think we can all be against the mercenaries thing. So when you're talking about like let's see if we can put some boundaries on what you're talking about. You're saying that there was a time when men were men and war was pure in the Middle Ages, and then it all fell apart. Because there were definitely some pretty ugly wars in the ancient world. I can think of. There was one point in the Second Punic War, and we need Lore Master Adam here to get me all the names and dates, but Hannibal had a huge army of the Romans surrounded. There was like a lake on one side and a mountain on the other. And one of the generals, they were like taking turns who was general that day.
Oh yeah, because it was the two consuls acting as general, and they couldn't work it out, so they just took turns.
So one of them
Because
just put their army in a
Republican
really
politics
stupid
was the most
position.
important thing.
And because Hannibal was actually in enemy territory, they like couldn't accept a surrender, like just logistically couldn't accept a surrender. So they had to spend all day killing the entire army, which was very unusual in those days. And then Rome turned around and raised another army. But it was
No, that wasn't Pyrrhus. Pyrrhus is a different time.
Yeah,
But
he was a
the same
Greek
war.
general.
Yeah, Pyrrhus is Greek.
So anyway, there was some pretty nasty battles in history, and so it's better to not have war.
And the Roman Empire definitely had mercenaries. So
the later Roman Empire, as we agree, the longer something goes on, the worse it gets, right?
Yep. Well, it's very simple, because in the High Middle Ages,
apply something like that just straightforwardly.
Yeah, Persia had mercenaries all along.
I understand. I'm saying you can't fight your own battles. I get it. I understand mercenaries exist. But in the High Middle Ages, you understood that your opponent, you portrayed them as, they have like dragon heraldry, and they employ sorcerers, and you were righteous and good, and you beat them up, but you didn't kill them, and then they converted, and then they joined your kingdom.
Are you getting this from like comic books or?
Yeah, that's the comic book version of something.
Well, what do we have? What do we have in the prior times, in the later times?
All right, 1 minute timeout for exemplifying silliness.
Thank you. Excellent.
Oh, you have so much more patience than I do, Father Eric.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was a little much.
It's something to listen to for sure.
The terminally online people are just very interesting.
Yeah,
but Jacob, explain this to me. So Peterson has Destiny on, and he has Destiny full on. Like, what do you do? And he's like, I play video games 8, 9, 10 hours a day every day, right? And he's like, at the end of the conversation, he's like, well, you sound very knowledgeable. And the thing was, like, almost everything he said in that conversation was actually factually incorrect. And I was just like, why are you talking to him? And like, maybe you talked to him once, like, fair enough, right? Like, why are you complimenting him when he's wrong? I don't like it's this weird, and yet how could he be right? He has no time to research anything. You think I played video games when I was researching history? Hell no.
Let me steal man what I call intellectual mimics. Sure. Which is, there are people, and frankly, I think of myself in the vast majority of things I ever talk about as an intellectual mimic, which is people who listen to very smart people and half understand what these smart people say. And then when they're talking to other people who are not as smart as we are, we then mimic the role of the intellectual, which taught us things which we don't really quite understand ourselves. Okay? And that, especially before the internet, had a much more important role in just disseminating information more broadly. And so Destiny does that. He in fact, and I think a lot of people, frankly, I think that's what I do generally. It's like, I try to understand people who are much, much smarter than I am, and often failingly, but enough to help other people understand.
Well, I think it's less important what you know and more important what you do with all of your knowledge. And so even if destiny, let's say, was right about everything. I really have my doubts as to whether you can live a life of virtue playing video games and streaming 10 hours a day.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
I like this. A grown man who calls himself Destiny is not a problem at all, right? I got to agree with Don. Like, the problem was evident before you had the conversation.
And so,
there's that too.
It does sound like a wizardly title, though.
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem is that the internet lets you name yourself.
Yeah, evil sorcerer naming himself. Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I picked David because I was named after King David, and it just so happens that I also very much relate to King David. So when I was baptized, I named myself the name I already was.
But I was baptized by I was baptized with the name my parents chose for me. I didn't pick it.
Well, yeah, but when you get baptized and confirmed at the same time, you would get to choose that name. Now, see, Pseudo-Boethius here, he's got the right idea. If you want to live a life of virtue, you need to move out into the desert of Egypt. Yeah. That's actually the easiest way to do it.
Wouldn't it get crowded?
Not that many people want to live a life of virtue, Emma. It's pretty evident to me.
Listen, that option as a virtuous option for me died 3 years ago. It would no longer be a virtuous option for me.
Well,
so
it's too bad you weren't called to a life of celibacy, I guess.
So I think my virtuous option is staying here and being a good wife to my husband and hopefully mother to children someday.
Yeah, that'll probably work. May I
share a heartwarming anecdote?
My heart better be warmed at the end of this.
It's going to be so warmed by the fire of, dare I say, the Holy Spirit, actually.
Well, we can pray.
My pastor was telling me about, I think it was St. Anthony, the one from the desert. Apparently he encountered he heard a knock on his door. You know, he goes on the desert and he's just sitting there doing probably praying. He hears a knock on the door and he opens it and it's the devil himself. And the devil's telling him, he says, you know, St. Anthony, I'm kind of upset here. And he's like, why? Because everywhere we go in the city, there are Christians. Everywhere we go in the country now, there are Christians. And now we can't even go into the desert because there are Christians there. And then St. Anthony told him to screw off, basically. And that was that.
Yeah.
We've sanctified even the desert.
Sanctified even the desert. Yeah.
I do like that.
He probably could have gone to to Norway or something because there weren't Christians there yet.
It's probably too cold.
It's probably better that he didn't, though, because the people there have no defenses.
Shalom ben Abraham was going to be my Jewish conversion name, but then I was baptized Joseph when I became Catholic.
Joseph is a good name.
So
also, that sounds like a complicated story, and I'm glad it seems to have worked out for you.
All converts to Judaism end up with Ben Abraham.
Oh, I suppose they need to be a son of Abraham now, don't they?
No, that's because all human beings of faith are considered children of Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he was made righteous by faith, right?
He was. And works.
And works, absolutely. In fact, I dare say, if we use the definition of faith by St. Thomas Aquinas, he says the act.
Yep.
That's the definition right there. It's a species of action. So
yeah,
the act of the intellect assenting to divinely revealed truths, moved by the command of the will as moved by God's grace.
And that is a very worthwhile thing to memorize.
It was accounted to him as righteousness. Right afterwards, God gives him a command. I believe it's circumcision, but it might have been the binding of Isaac. And he says, now I know that you are faithful.
True. I think it is the binding of Isaac because it says at the end of that episode, Now I know that you are faithful because you did not withhold from me your only son.
There you go.
Sometimes lines stick in my head.
It's nice when it does. It's nice when it does. And that one gets read if you're in a proper place, every year at the Easter Vigil. Genesis
Yes.
chapter
Oh,
22.
that's why it's like really clear right now, because I heard it just a few weeks ago.
Yep. And we're still in that Easter season here.
We are. I learned about Rogation Tide. Do you know about Rogation Tide?
Of course, I know about Rogation Tide. I want to bring it back because I live in a farming diocese, and
You should.
we need to do the rogation so the rain comes at the appropriate time. That's simple. But right now, I'm driving the bishop around, so I can only.
So you have plenty of time to talk to him about bringing back Rogation Tide.
He has zero objections to it. It has to be a guy getting it going in a parish.
I think it's interesting how Judas we could be talking about him instead of Abraham, but he went and hung himself.
Yeah, no, his crime was only marginally worse than St. Peter's, but St. Peter repented and Judas did not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm thinking particularly of when Jesus said to him. I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and I've said it before to others, and I just need to say it to different others. But Judas was given something of a weirder, a more intense, a more concentrated version of what God gave to Abraham, because God's promise to Abraham was through his son Isaac, who was not in the position to be fulfilling his promise because he didn't have kids. So then God says, kill your son Isaac. So Abraham's sort of doing he's doing a revelatory calculus here. He's going, well, my son, the promise is not fulfilled yet, and this is the one through whom the promise is fulfilled, and you want me to kill him. You must have some plan here. It must include his resurrection in some way. I'm going to proceed because I know certain things are true. Now what Judas got was a hyper concentrated, like a super intense version of that, because Jesus is speaking not directly toward him, but about him anyways, when he says, the one who betrayed me, it would be better if he were never born. So now Judas, he didn't say this to Judas, he said it about Judas. Now this is Judas, this is his moment to go, well, I was born. So that would mean that actually God had deemed it better that I am here. So Abraham was given, revelatory calculus to do with the words of God. Jesus gave him the calculus to do with his own being. He had to know that because he even exists, God wanted him to be there. And
why
here's
are you using
Jesus
the word
telling
calculus?
I don't know. It's my stand-in for math, I guess.
Yeah.
Logic.
Yeah, I don't think math actually is going to help us here. I think we need something a little more powerful than math.
Well, it's just the word.
I think it's a lot simpler just to say that Judas used to carry the money bag and take out of it, and maybe when he was called, he had that initial flame of conversion. He had that initial passion inside of him. But as the weeks wore on, running around after this crazy preacher from Galilee, camping out under the stars, maybe not eating quite as regularly as he would have liked, I began to resent the position that he was in. And then he began to, as much as he was able, a little ways, take advantage of the position he was in. And then when Jesus goes and directly challenges the authorities at the temple by the cleansing of the temple, realizing that this is not going to be the pathway to fame and fortune, and trying to look for his out. So that would be my take on it. And there's no mathematics in that, because you just pay attention to people and you watch them for long enough, and you'll see that they'll do those sorts of things. So
that's what's interesting, though, is it totally could have been, because if he had if he had repented, we we wouldn't be talking about Abraham's faith. We'd be talking about Judas's faith, because the faith he was asked to have was almost a contradiction. It was almost a contradiction of what Jesus was saying. He's the one that made Jesus's words true when Jesus said, it would be better for him not to have been born. When he failed to repent, when he
You
despaired,
mean
he
when he
made that
committed
true.
suicide rather than repenting?
Yeah, when he failed to repent, when he
Yeah,
despaired.
we're getting awfully close to starting to debate Molinism versus Thomism here, and that's going to get us well beyond the boundaries, the appropriate boundaries of this podcast. Because this, do you know what that is? Molinism.
No,
I don't know what Molinism
I was
is.
going to ask you, what's Molinism and what's Thomism?
All right, so I
I
want
don't
you
know
to
what
imagine.
Thomism is.
I want you to imagine that it's the 16th century, and there's Calvinists running around causing all sorts of fuss about predestination specifically, because
God have mercy.
because the Western mind had grasped onto this mathematical first way of thinking, and that was causing problems because, like, mathematical first doesn't work. Mathematics has always got to take second seat to the real in its fullness. And so the Calvinists are like, well, how is it that we're both free and also, God is the supreme provident cause of everything? And a lot of people would just at that time negate the freedom of man and say God has all the freedom. And that doesn't work well, because all of a sudden you become a nihilist. Nothing that you do matters because God has all the freedom, right? These same questions were being asked at Catholic universities, especially in those places where they were being asked to respond to Calvinism. Now, the Thomists, the Dominicans, whom I would favor in basically every dispute, just said, hey, God's free and we're free, and God uses our freedom for his own will. And if you can't figure that out, then just go pray some more and you'll eventually stop worrying about it, hopefully. And then there was this Jesuit named Molina, and he had these really wacky ideas that God was basically like this supremely capable gambler, and he didn't know the future in itself, but he would know what your will would choose, and through knowing that would know and cause all these things to happen. So it's a really overly left-brained way of trying to do theology. And the dispute between the Dominicans and the Jesuits got so intense at one point that the Holy See at multiple times jumped in, said, you guys aren't allowed to call each other heretics anymore. Both of these are within bounds. And we're going to look into this matter, and we'll get a commission together, and we'll come up with the final word on it. And then it never came up with the final word on it. So it's still an open question. But the Molinists are wrong, so don't worry about it.
Ha!
But anyway,
the Thomists are right. The answer is shut up. You can't answer this question.
And these things they're compatible, but you can't go at them in trying to fit them together like puzzle pieces, because they don't fit together like puzzle pieces. They fit together like an organic body where things can stretch, move back and forth, bend. Things can get smaller, bigger. It's much more subtle than putting puzzle pieces together.
So I'm confused, because I was under the impression that Thomism simply referred to like everything Thomas Aquinas said.
Okay, and it's also a school
built on what Thomas Aquinas said.
It's also a school of thought of people who have carried forward the legacy of Thomas Aquinas through the centuries.
And the Eastern Orthodox constantly complain about Thomas Aquinas being too systematic.
It's because they haven't read him. That's right. So like, listen, I'm not going to complain about Gregory Palamas, because I'm just not going to read him, right? So like, maybe this idea that you can see uncreated light with your intellect is dumb, but I'm just not going to study it. So I'm not gonna get all fussy about it. But there's this. The problem is that there was a lot of scholasticism that really wasn't very good at all. It was overly, especially by the time you get to the 16th century, right, when things were falling apart. Like you try and read the works of Francisco Suarez, and it's just awful. Like there's no, it's just like he's just chopping things up into pieces and he can't put it all back together. So there's a lot of scholasticism that frankly stinks and isn't good. And then there's a lot of people who read Thomas Aquinas, and as it turns out, they're not as smart as he is or really capable of handling it. So they just use the, orderly reasons to smack people around. And that's not a loving way to use knowledge. So ultimately, people just say, bah, with scholasticism, and they want to get rid of all of it. But they don't know that it's actually useful if you use it right, which can apply to almost anything in the universe. Actually useful if you use it right. There may be certain things which cannot be used justly, but we will not discuss them at this moment.
But you have to be a little fair to people, Father. Not that you weren't, but I just want to put a finer point on it. Like if you read somebody and you see this sort of formulaic system in what you read, it could be because that's all you're capable of seeing, right? And like there's a lot of people that somehow apparently, according to them, and I don't want to call them liars, read the Republic and came away with Plato's Cave as some story about an individual breaking out of a system that is refuted. So that can't be, but they seem to believe that's what it says, honestly. But it turns out that they have low reading comprehension. It's the end of the story.
It's like the first year, second year seminarians who start studying Thomas Aquinas, and they're starting to follow it a little bit, right? And the only thing they've learned how to do is how to make a distinction. Making a distinction is an important skill to be able to do, because you want to make sure that we're talking about one thing and not talking about two things at the same time. So see my rants about modernism and how we're talking about five things at once whenever somebody talks about modernism. And also my rants about a supposed corner of the internet of which we do not speak. But the mark of a real theologian who's, after he's made the distinctions, still sees how the whole fits together.
Yes.
Right. So a lot of people are like physicians who've like memorized all of the bones in the hand, but don't know how they fit together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where scholasticism goes wrong, is it just chops all of the little bones apart and doesn't know how what a hand is. So, yeah.
So the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And people have a real hard time with that. And this is where this is why the formula can never work. No formula can ever work because the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. That's the same statement.
Yeah. So I don't know why exactly Eastern Orthodox folks complain about Thomas Aquinas, but I would suspect the majority of them haven't read him. And those who have read him maybe haven't read him correctly.
Also, some of them probably are just like, well, the Westerners like him, and that makes him bad.
Yeah. And Lord knows I'm susceptible to that kind of thinking too.
I was going to say, not that I don't do the same thing.
Yeah.
West Coast Refugee says, no one has come up with a formula yet. I'm going to shoot in the dark here. I think it's because your will and your intellect, these are things that are what should I say? Your marks of the image of God. So how does free will fit in with predestination? Well, you're trying to look at the thing you're using to look at stuff, and I don't know how you do that, because the will is you apprehend goods and then you choose between them, and that's how free will works. So nothing is so good that you're being like forced to go for it. But God is good. He's the good. So, I can't I don't know how to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Just do good.
Well, it's really
Do's
easy to
good.
talk about how God is good. You just say, I say God is good, but I also know that my concept of the goodness isn't actually equal to the goodness of God, because my concept is finite and God is infinite. And my manner of speaking about God is also finite. And so the mode of which I apply goodness to God is also actually more false than true. But I still have to talk because people are asking me questions, and I'm the priest. So God is good.
If it works, it works. You know.
Yeah, I don't
Just choose
usually
good. Don't
bring
choose
that
evil.
rant out with the third graders. That one was just like,
That might be a little much.
yeah, usually you just start talking about creation at that point. Okay, guys, I want you to imagine that nothing exists at all. And then God just speaks, and then everything exists. That's how great God is. Now look at Father Eric here. Ice cream cone. There's no ice cream cone. It didn't pop into existence because I'm not God. Any questions?
Well, and third graders at least the vast majority of them, instinctually know that being is good and creation is good, and it's better for things to exist than to not exist. That one is trickier for older people.
Oh gosh, you have to deceive yourself out of that.
Well, no, that's you know,
and many people
thinking
do.
Descartes made some like radical statement, which
I think you have to deceive
reduces
yourself
to
back into
existence
it.
is good.
I think that's
No,
probably
I
the better way to put
think
it.
you're undeceiving yourself when you realize that
Yeah.
existence is good.
Yeah.
Well,
It
being
is
good.
better to be than not to be.
It's got. I'm reminded of Peterson again, right? Sometimes you have to fake it. That's what I mean. Because you're doing something against every fiber of your being when you're undeceiving yourself. You basically have to. You have to deceive yourself into the truth, if that makes sense.
I think you can deceive yourself. I'm not sure about undeceiving yourself. You might need help to get the undeceivement done.
Well,
At
you'll need
least for
truth.
another person, but also, grace from God to unbend you.
That person is Jesus.
Yes,
Because
yes.
he's truth. So it's both a person and the truth. Look, you got two in one.
Sally
Baby.
Jo also has a good point that I missed, but
Third graders who are cared for know creation is good. Yes, and there are other third graders, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, there's always more to pray for. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Keep them away from magicians. Are you kidding me? Children love magic acts. Check this out. Ready?
Oh, how does he do it?
Yeah, that's right. Give me your money.
How will you take money with no thumb?
Because I can put it back.
That's the trick right there. You got to be able to put it back on, otherwise you're just a lousy scholastic who no one should read.
That's true. That's true.
Oh my.
I'm glad that Grace came up, Father, because saw some people on Twitter using forgiveness, and I was like, yeah, if you just replace the word forgiveness for grace, you're actually correct, but if you use the word forgiveness, you're actually wrong. And I think people are confused about those two terms.
Well, I would think that, the thing about grace is, if you situate it properly, it could refer to literally all of creation as being a gift and a favor from God. So it's like we can go all the way to very specific, precise scholastic definitions. So it seems like, what do you mean by forgiveness then? Yeah. And what isn't being captured by forgiveness that grace refers to?
Well, it was the universality and the fact that it's universally given, and that's clearly not how forgiveness works.
Well, sure, because you can't forgive somebody who hasn't offended you.
Exactly. But so you get grace, right? It's like it's already there.
But you can extend grace to anybody by being extra charitable, doing a loving, kind thing.
Right. Well, but also I don't. you're actually not required to forgive somebody unless they repent. Then you actually, not that you maybe shouldn't, but also I think the misuse in forgiveness is people want to use it external to themselves, right? They want to force other people or ask other people for forgiveness, and I think that's totally inappropriate, right? Forgiveness is something you do for yourself to help you receive others better. It doesn't help them at all, ever.
Yeah, no,
Me forgiving you
repentance
doesn't help you one whit.
Repentance and forgiveness are very different things.
Right. And you need confession in the middle, right? Because you have to acknowledge that you did something wrong, right? You have to confess somehow, somewhere, and then you can repent correctly, and then the problem's solved. Now, if you don't get forgiven by the person you wronged, now they're in the wrong. So why do you care? At some point, the forgiveness doesn't affect you at all, right?
Yeah. Well,
It affects
sometimes
the other person.
I guess if somebody wanted reconciliation and it wasn't available to them, that could be painful. But sometimes life is just painful, and even if you've apologized and done what's appropriate to make amends, if that other person isn't welcoming you back in, you might just have to go find some new friends. I don't know.
I'm a no on apologies. Like
I'm wary of this. Anything that implies that there could be less forgiveness. I don't know.
Well, people withhold forgiveness. They're capable of doing that. Jesus has some very strong things to say about that, right? Like, forgive as you are forgiven, and God will forgive as often as we repent. So, like, oh boy, dude, like, Jesus seems pretty serious about that. You probably should listen to him, but people are gonna do whatever they want. So,
what was it? 70? It's a big number. 70 times 70.
70 times
70
7
times 7.
Yeah,
there's a lot of sevens involved,
which is more of a symbolic number than a real number.
And Jacob can tell us about Jewish preachers using hyperbole just to make a point, right? Is that a thing that happens?
That is a thing that happens, Father.
Okay, all right.
Well, I'll take the forgiveness. I won't go. I wouldn't go so far as to say that maybe, your forgiveness of another person has, like, they're not affected by that. I think it might be. I think it might affect them in very subtle spiritual ways, but ultimately it's on them, for this reason. Because if you're of Satan, if Satan is your father, and you end up experiencing the truth of God as painful, one of those truths is that you're going to be unforgiven. One of those things is that someone's going to be like, well, I don't forgive you, and you're going to be seeing that, and because you're in hell, you're going to be spinning that wheel, and you're going to be pushing that cart forever. So I think it's still dependent on the person, but it still has spiritual bite, if that person doesn't know they're forgiven. Just forgive. Just multiply the forgiveness. That's what Jesus said. Always.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think it's about knowing about forgiveness. The best argument I've heard, and I still don't like it, is that you need to know the potential for forgiveness exists. And even there, I'm like, well, what you're really talking about is grace, not forgiveness.
Oh yeah. I'm talking like between two people, just generally, like, okay.
But again, I think the only proper use for the word forgiveness is it's something you do for yourself. It has nothing to do with people outside of the person doing the forgiving at all.
Give is in the word.
Yeah. Yes, it is. That's true. And you're giving yourself a break from someone living in your head. No, you're giving yourself a break from the person living in your head.
Well, I guess that's one way to put it.
No, it's the way it seems to work if you actually read about it. Like, you go to Catholic Answers right now. That's how I did it, right? And just like quickly do a scan on forgiveness, what Jesus says about forgiveness, and what you're going to realize real quick, right? If you have a high enough reading comprehension, and maybe you don't, fair enough. That's why you need spiritual authority, right? Is that, this seems to be something you do to release yourself from being tormented by having been transgressed upon. And it doesn't like I can forgive somebody, and if they don't repent, nothing's gonna change at all. Not for them, right? I'm like if somebody hit me, I can forgive them for hitting me and then not go near them ever again in my life. That's sure. I'd still forgive them, but not gonna take the chance. That's a possible configuration, and
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's the proper use.
Well, because I'm of the body of Christ, I participate in his actions. So by my forgiving others, I think there's a real effect there. I think because of my participation in Christ.
There is a real effect. You can receive their repentance. And that's why Jesus tells you if they repent, you must forgive them. That sounds right. Yup. But it still doesn't help them. It helps you.
Well, it helped me if I known I was forgiven for something.
I forgive you, David. That's not going to help you, buddy. Sorry.
It helps me tremendously because I'm a stinker.
It's actually not going to help you. Trust me.
It will. You trust me. It's helping me right now.
It's not going to help you at all.
It's helping me right now.
It certainly helps to have the priest say, "I absolve you from your sins." That's a very helpful thing.
That's helpful.
That is a very helpful one.
I'll take that too.
I like that one.
That's way more important. Right? Have an authority release you, right? From something, due to your acknowledgement and hopefully some action on your part to make up for that transgression. That's what's important.
Yeah. It's all complicated. Just do what Jesus says, and it's much simpler.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Jacob, do whatever your favorite rabbi says. All right, there's your instructions.
Well, I read there was a rabbi that he was a famous Messiah claimant, I think. This is very vague, but he wrote down the name of the Messiah before he died, and when people opened it up, it said Jesus, something to that effect.
It's a really common name.
I know what you're talking about.
You probably know what I'm talking about better than me. I know it's very
nothing like you said, but that's
fine. Of course you'd say that.
He's a part of the global conspiracy.
Well,
his name was Rabbi Kaduri, and I actually talk about that the letter that he left a lot on my channel.
Well, Jews do they have a pinch for Jesus. It's true.
What?
So if it was Jesus that he was talking about, I could understand why you have something on your channel.
This sounds like conspiracy theories. And let me give you the Father Eric rule for conspiracy theories. If the results of the conspiracy theory being true would have no relevance on how you live your life, then you may as well just believe it's false.
That's correct.
I don't know. I don't have a theory. He wrote something on a piece of paper. It was kind of cryptic. I remember seeing a photo print of it.
Ooh, that's a perfect cryptic. Prophecies are like honey for the flies.
What if it will affect how you live your life, but only in terms of what strangers on the internet you yell at?
There's what we're talking about, strangers on the internet.
Jesus. That was what was cryptic about it. It didn't say Jesus, because obviously it didn't, right?
What I have said several times is if Rabbi Kaduri had converted to Christianity, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people would have converted with him.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
And he would have become instantaneously the richest man on earth.
Well, is that how it works? When I was baptized, I didn't get anything.
Yeah,
I had some first communion money, but
you were not a very, very prominent rabbi who would instantly gain like every dispensationalist in the world.
Oh, okay.
Deciding that this guy is like almost the second coming of Jesus.
So you're talking about Protestant money.
Do you know how long before his death it was?
I got some Protestant money at my first communion, I think. I think my grandparents knew to give me money.
he wrote it before his death, and he said not to publish it until a year after his death.
So like this, so he was dying. So he's on the bed.
No,
He's
no,
not
no, no,
feeling
no.
so well, or how
He
long?
apparently wrote it.
So why would he do that?
before.
Oh, okay.
What?
Why did he do that?
So we have a tradition that even the worst of sinners only spends a year in purgatory.
You guys have
You
purgatory?
have purgatory?
Yeah.
Or
Where do
hell?
you think you got it from?
Is
I
it
thought we got it from Second Maccabees.
Where do you think you got Second Maccabees from?
Well, it was
You
written in
just
Greek.
owned it. I don't know.
Cool. All right. Jews got purgatory. That's must be why we get along so well in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Only the. Okay. That's it's very different than Dante. That's for sure. And the whole medieval imagination about purgatory.
Well,
Which-
okay, let's put it this. So the Talmud does talk about people who hell will end and their suffering will not. Right? So and you don't want to be any of those people. But there are various but the general, we only say Kaddish, which is a form of mourning, for 11 months because we generally say nobody's bad enough that you need to do it for 12 months.
Okay. So that's, and then the conclusion of that is nobody's bad enough to be in purgatory for a whole year, for more than a year.
You would hope.
You would
Oh,
hope.
the vast majority of people, yeah.
But is that purgatory as hell, or is that purgatory as this middle condition? Because there's a lot of confusion over that.
We are very, very vague about the afterlife, and we are insistent on remaining vague about the afterlife because, the Bible is pretty vague about the afterlife.
Right.
And if God didn't see fit to add more detail than he did, I don't see why I should have strict beliefs on that.
That sounds awfully sola scriptura to me, Jacob.
Call me sola scriptura if you like.
Well, I like to imagine different castes on the new Earth. According to your state.
Do you you want to find a better word for that? Do you want to find ranks or levels?
Right, levels. Yeah, we'll do levels.
We'll do levels, right? Castes. Just in ordinary American English gives you the sense that one of them is going to be cast off.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose a lot of people are going to.
Some of them are bad.
Yeah, well, not bad. So maybe the damned have to take the role of the level 1 hell beasts that the peasants have to fight every now and again because they invade the farms. But they're new Earth farms. They're new farms.
Yeah. You ever played that first person shooter from about 2002, Painkiller?
No.
Okay,
No.
It was
Is this how you
fundamentally
envision the new Earth?
Fundamentally a very silly game, which doesn't mean you shouldn't play it. But the plot was that hell was going to invade heaven through purgatory, and you were a bad guy while you lived on Earth. But God was going to give you a chance to redeem yourself if you just, with a shotgun, fought off the hordes of hell to protect heaven.
That is very silly.
And the reason, right? If this had been made by an American studio, I just would have rolled my eyes, right? It's like, oh, Americans who don't know anything about theology. But it was made by a Polish studio.
What?
It was made by a Polish studio, and it's like, listen,
Wow.
the Polacks were all catechized properly. So
sure.
you have no excuse for having such profoundly silly theology in your video game.
Well, it's new Earth. It's
How
different.
does it compare to Doom?
Oh, it's very much inspired by, pays homage to that whole boomer shooter genre. Yeah, and you can get it for like $2 on Steam, and it'll run out of potatoes. So,
Well, once again, there are no games worth playing after about Xbox 360. Anything that and before,
Was that when
pretty
you
much solid.
graduated high school and life was just less fun after that? It's
No,
real.
no.
Okay. Okay.
I graduated
Oh man,
in the hell year.
you could not pay me to
2020.
go back to high school.
Well, this happened to be about 7 or 8 years ago. My family was out camping, right? And Dad's like, let's rent a boat. So we went and rented a boat, and we were all on the boat and we were all riding around. It was a nice boat, and it was a lovely, like perfect summer day in Minnesota. And I was just sitting there like, I'm not having fun right now. But at the age of 5, I would have been in heaven, right? Because I was on a boat, and a boat would have just been intrinsically exciting. So anyway,
It's fair. I think I lost that before high school.
If I got a new boat.
No, on New Earth, you get a new boat. It can fly too.
I feel like on the New Earth, we would be able to just run on the water, crouching tiger, hidden dragon style.
But that's not as cool.
I also feel like we'll care about different things, and different things will be exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean boat in sort of a, because this is current Earth. When I say boat, you think of a current Earth boat, but I'm talking a New Earth boat. You're sailing on the seas of glory, saying "Holy, holy, holy." So it's different.
Are you gonna charter those boats then?
I don't know about that. I'd rather be on. I'm a landlubber.
You're a landlubber.
I do like boats.
So I'll be tilling the New Earth fields.
All right, Sally Joe's giving us some warning here. The video games are burning your testosterone in hellfire. So keep an eye on that, lads.
I think she's right about that. I can confirm that.
So that's not a problem for
go
me
to the
then,
gym.
right?
Simple solution.
No, I mean women have testosterone too. I'm like, come on.
Just exercise. 90% of most people's problems are solved by exercise.
Exercise and diet. Don't forget about the diet.
Yeah.
Diet's pretty important.
Eat well, exercise. You don't even necessarily have to like hardcore exercise to get a lot of the benefits. Like I just go for walks.
Yep.
Yeah, I like picking the weights up though. That's too much fun.
That's fair. You do you.
Yeah.
I like going. I don't like that, and I just go for walks and try to walk like 2 miles, and it's also pretty good.
I think the prescription might vary on different factors like age and gender and all that business.
But walking is a good thing to do.
But if you're currently at 0, walking is better than not.
Oh, Emma, watch out.
Cargo shorts
and Subaru. I will watch out.
And softball.
I learned this recently. The reason walking is good is because your circulatory system is very good at putting stuff up here. So that's where the big stuff is. But your legs are just kind of there, and they just take a lot of blood. And what your hips do is they literally act as like an assistant pump, basically, for your blood when they're moving. Because there's not a lot going down there.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I just know I feel a lot better when I walk several times a week.
I just need somewhere to walk. I can never just walk. I know I should. I should have today. It was beautiful today, but I didn't. I said I was gonna, but I didn't.
I just walk around my neighborhood.
Well, ask St. Michael to give you the grace to walk more.
Well, I need somewhere to go though. I already bought chocolate at the store. Usually, I walk to the store to get chocolate, because then I can say, yeah, I walked to something instead of just aimlessly wandering.
No, aimless wandering is the best.
Aimless wandering is great.
You live in a suburb. It's hell.
No, but then you can get really connected.
Aimless wandering. I have a theory.
Even if you live in like kind of a soulless suburb, if you walk around it, you start to notice things. You start to get more connected to the territory you live in, and I think that can really only be a good thing.
So I have a powerful dialectic here. These are the wizardly words. I think that the satanic panic, things like Dungeons and Dragons, I think the reason there was such a reaction to this was because Dungeons and Dragons was a game that was about wandering around pointless mazes and slaying undead drones. Now, if you're an evangelical in a suburb, that would probably seem threatening to you, especially a game with medieval tones, very Catholic tones. But a suburb is a pointless maze filled with undead drone zombies. So no wonder they were threatened by this. And that's my theory. I think it's all tied into that. So when I walk around a suburb, I think, what is this? A dungeon? Where's the skeletons? Where's the ghoul?
Well, I've got a different take on it. My take would be that the mothers noticed their children being enchanted, right?
Can't
Just
have
being
that.
opened up to a world of potential, being sucked into using their imaginations, right? Now, ordinarily, if a mother sees her children being enchanted with something noble, something beautiful, they just go and encourage that, right? Because they're mothers and they're good at encouraging such things. So if a child becomes enchanted by exploring the woods, as long as they stay within certain safe parameters, that's fine. Become enchanted with, the middle school bike gangs tearing around the place, getting into just a little bit of trouble, not too much trouble, but just the right amount. Finding the boundaries, that's fine. But when you're getting enchanted into these imaginary realms where all of this energy is being pointlessly wasted, as Sally Joe is, it's a hellfire for testosterone. You may even say you're just flushing your testosterone down the toilet at that point, right? That gets the problem. But the thing is that they were, and we'll bring it back to this, rather materialistic in their thinking, and so they responded to the enchantment by thinking it had to be actually magic, right?
Mm.
And that was the only thing that could actually enchant somebody, would be magic, not just the real life out there. So there's a counter theory. I'll put a counter theory out.
What's weird is that they were right. Look at the people who read Harry Potter religiously. They were right the whole time.
I read Harry Potter. I guess I didn't read it religiously.
I read it fairly casually, but
I've never read Harry Potter. Thank goodness.
it's got some good Christian themes.
You're the guy with the stinking hat on right now, so I don't know how seriously I'm going to take your prognostications about Harry Potter when you're literally wearing the sorting hat right now.
That's fair. Look, I read Lord of the Rings. I read it once. I tried to read it again. It was horrible. I couldn't do it. It's fantastic for it's fantastic for doing once, but then I tried to read it again and I'm like, oh, he's talking for like 3 pages about hot water.
Well, I think you need to learn how to explore narrative meaning first.
No, screw that.
Yeah,
hot water.
Exploring narrative
3
meaning
pages for hot water.
And being enchanted with
I understand
everyday
he
life.
was in the Psalm, okay? I get it. But like 3 pages?
Listen, man, let me tell you who you're dealing with, right? You ever read Moby Dick?
No.
About a third of the way into the book, Herman Melville spends 2 chunky chapters.
They're like longer than the rest
classifications of whales. And I thought it was awesome. I was laughing my head off the entire time.
Different strokes.
If you're thinking that you're actually going to convince me that Tolkien did anything wrong ever,
that's fair. Different strokes, I guess. Different strokes.
Then that's going to be a very long uphill battle there. Because, however, if you don't like Herman Melville's prose, I can see not liking it. So,
yeah.
I don't like poetry anymore. I see people, they post things, or they share things.
Oh, you definitely need to learn how to explore narrative meaning then.
Well, people will show me these poems and they'll say, look at this poem, it's beautiful. And I think this is just prose in stanza formatting.
I mean, that happens sometimes. Can you think of
How
an
do people
author
do
that
this?
somebody's shown you recently?
This is like there's a popular Rupee. Who's this Rupee guy? Rupee Kaur or something?
Oh yeah.
Well, why don't you try some?
White women are very fond of this person.
There are
well, there's your
some
problem.
decidedly mediocre modern poems, and those often do fall into that.
I want
would-
rhyme.
You got to get some Gerard Manley Hopkins, young man.
Okay, let me Google this.
Gerard Manley Hopkins. He'll
Gerard
do things
Manley
with
Hopkins.
words that you've never even thought possible.
I don't know. I think
He is good.
I think Ice Spice may have the finest poetry of our age.
All right. That's 3 minutes right there.
Excellent.
That's practically the rest of the night.
I think that's why he said 3 minutes.
That might not be a coincidence, Emma. I do appreciate your reference, Frederick. So hopefully you sort of start to understand what happened on the Awakening from the Meaning Crisis server with people.
Oh man, Mark, while we're here, just tell us, what is a meaning crisis?
Well, the meaning crisis is a crisis of the ability for people to find, or more properly manifest, meaning in the world, as evidenced by increased rates of drug use, depression, suicide, inability to have and make friends, be it part of community, participate in everyday life. That's basically what seems to be going on. And I link the meaning crisis back to the source of intimacy crisis, which you can learn more about. And I'll be having more conversations on navigating patterns about that soon. Catherine's going to come back. Yay.
Ooh,
Actually,
Catherine.
I'm
Nice.
talking
I
to her
like it.
tomorrow about it. So super psyched. Yeah. So I think that's what causes your inability to understand how to participate in the world is caused by a lack of understanding the quality of relationships and how to make quality relationships and participate in quality relationships. And then if you can't have quality relationships, you can't manifest meaning, right? You're not going to be able to find meaning. You're not going to be able to understand poetry. You're not going to be able to understand these things. That was like standard fare on the Awakening from the Meaning Crisis Discord server. Was none of those people like poetry at all. And not that they were always like that. They lost their love of poetry. They lost that flavor, and most of them didn't miss it. They were like,
Yeah, I was going to say they probably considered hating poetry to be like, at worst, a cool personality trait,
they didn't
but
hate
otherwise like a good thing.
They didn't hate it. No.
Mm.
They just didn't care, and they didn't see the point.
Care.
They didn't see the point. Like, I don't know what
but
this
some
is
of them
about.
probably considered that a positive thing. I run into a lot of people who consider like not understanding poetry to be like it makes them better people somehow.
Well, yeah, because they have the truth from the what I call the age of gnosis, right? It acknowledges propositions. I have propositions; those are more solid and concrete and certain than this crazy poetry stuff that sort of like plays with propositions. Very, very suspect. I mean, the words don't always mean what they should mean, and yeah. But I've got the answer, Emma, because I use my language super precisely. In the way it was intended, right? That's the problem.
Right, because the first things we have recorded in language definitely aren't poetry.
It's definitely not the Epic of Gilgamesh, if that's what you're thinking.
It's definitely not accounting records. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I suppose the accounting records would be older than Gilgamesh, wouldn't it?
Probably.
How sad.
Maybe not.
That normal people still read now, though, from way back then, is not the accounting records.
I hear that. I heard a rumor, Emma. I don't know if this is true. You're a language geek. I heard a rumor that there's one book that's more highly published and highly read than any other book. So to the point where it kind of stands out like all by itself. And you would think that the people that know this would like tell the people that talk about deep books all the time that they're reading the wrong book, but apparently they don't do that.
Hey, Mark, I got news for you. Poetry is propositional.
Okay.
That was the response I was expecting.
Yeah,
What do we have
yeah.
here?
Just
Somebody's
get
delusional.
books with pictures.
E.
Yeah.
Michael Jones, you got to be careful with that one. Yeah, I saw that face. Conflict between
I don't
mimesis
know.
and concupiscence in the fine arts.
This is a beautiful book.
Who is this?
That's probably going to resolve into being a Jewish conspiracy by the end of it to corrupt America or something.
Let's put it this way: he definitely doesn't have a neo-Lobstat.
No, he does not have a neo-Lobstat. But something here is going to obstat, and that is this live stream, because it's now time.
9:30.
It's dark outside, and that's when rational creatures go to bed. So,
Indeed.
Emma, thank you for getting this thing going in my absence. Mark, thank you for
asking
bouncing.
me. It's an honor.
And I will just say good night and God bless you all.
Good night. Talk to y'all later.